Hi guys, hey, Dale Walker at Holeshot Performance Products. I'm back in the dyno room. I have my first tuner all dialed in. I've been working on in there for a couple days now. Anyway, what I've done is Canon air filter. Did a couple simple airbox mods. Okay, I'm just going to compare the stock bike, my 14-inch Comp 2 muffler, okay, with no tune, and the same muffler with my tune that I just finished. Still want to do a little bit of street testing before I release it, but it should be good. Anyway, here is the stock bike, and you can go back and compare all my mufflers. They make within like 1 horsepower every muffler. Pretty much I make about 3 or 4 different ones. But anyway, here's the stock bike. Okay, and that's number 20. And by the way, my other review of all the mufflers and the bike before it was tuned is part 7 dyno chart review of this bike on YouTube. Okay, so here's the stock bike, just like it was in the other one, number 20. Okay, got to remember I'm at 4,500 feet elevation. Okay, now we're going to put number 41 on here, which is one of the very best pulls, or the best pull from the previous session, not tuned yet. That's my 14-inch Comp 2 core, right? There's your numbers. Let me move this over just a tad, get it off the line there. Okay, you got to remember this is peak. Peak, it's not going to make a lot more horsepower because the restricting factor here is going to be the original header with the cat in it, of course. Okay, once it starts really pulling up top. But you know, this motor doesn't make power past about 9,000 RPM. That's 9,000, between 9 and 9,500 at the most is where you should be shifting this thing when you're getting on it hard, like on a twisty road. About 9 grand, 9,300. So really up in here you don't really pay much attention, but see how it still holds it way ahead. Okay, so there's the differences from stock, even no tune. You know, you got a lot more torque. This is your torque line. Here's 2 or 3 foot-pounds of torque, and then it holds it all the way. Here's your horsepower line. It made about 4 horsepower here. This is 7,000 RPM right here. This is 6,000 RPM. And then it holds it within 3 and then holds it up here. Okay, so that's no tune yet. Okay, so now with more air into the air box and my tune-up, which I cleaned up the airfield a lot where it had some of the rich spots and things stock. Only wide open. It still was good. Steady cruise, light throttle, just getting on it hard is where it wasn't too good. Okay, so now we're going to go right to my best session today, number 95. I've got 97 pulls on this thing now. So there you go, and that's still with the stock front header. So let's get rid of the stock pull for a second. That's 20. I'll take that one off. Okay, so here we go. So see here, here's no tuning at all. Here's with my tune-up now. Same muffler. Nothing else changed, just my tune, Canon filter, a couple little minor mods I did to the airbox. Be easy for you to do. Okay, but look up through here. Look at the torque. I made almost, that's 5 foot-pounds of torque. This is 5,000 RPM, 4,000 RPM, clear down off the bottom. This is between 2,200 to 3,000. Okay? But even right here past 4 it starts climbing. It's about 4 foot-pounds, about 5, 6,000 RPM, it's about 4 foot-pounds. Okay, and then your torque curve is nice and flat, still ahead. And then past, you know, this is 8 grand. You know, it's still slightly ahead, and then it's kind of just the same, you know, where it's not making power anymore. Okay, and then your horsepower line over here, you know, right off the bottom, couple horsepower, 3 grand. It's just barely hovering above maybe 1 or half a horsepower. And then 4 grand again, it starts taking off. Here's a couple horsepower, 3 to 4, almost 4 to 5. Now you keep in mind, same muffler, just no tune. Okay. Here we go. This is like 2 or 3, and then pretty much way up past the peak power. Peak power is right around in here. Peak about 8,500. That's right there. This is 9,000 RPM right here, and then it just kind of falls off, starts falling off where it did with no tune, you know, just because the motor doesn't make power up there. It's just how these motors are, and I'm sure the stock header section is restricting it there. I don't think it's going to make a much more horsepower when I put the arrow headers, my last step, front section. I mean, who knows what it's going to do, but it's got to beat it, okay? But hopefully I still make a little bit more all through here, and then it makes more up here too. Okay, so now let's take off 41, the non-tuned one, and let's go ahead and put back the stock bike with where I sit right now, and it's pretty damn impressive. Okay, so down here, here's your stock bike, bone stock, everything. Look at the power difference. This is about 2,600 RPM. 2,200 or so is where I start the roll. I'm in 5th gear doing a 5th gear roll on here, wide open. So right in here it's 5, 6 horsepower, 4 or 5, 3 to 4, all the way here. Okay, this, by the way, excuse me, that's torque. But look at the torque curve all the way. We're talking 5 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500 RPM. Okay, here's your horsepower line. So we got a couple horsepower, 3, 2, 2 to 3, all the way 3 to 4, right through here 4. This is like 5 or 6 horsepower. That's at 7,000 RPM. Here's 6,500, 7 grand, 7,500, 8 grand. Peak power right here. Okay, about 8,500 RPM. Here's 9 grand, and it's way ahead of a stock bike, about 4 horsepower, even way past where it makes power. This is just before it hits the rev limiter on the tach, which is really about 10.5, 10.3. So here's your numbers. There's your stock bike, 7130, 45 foot-pounds, right how it sits right now, still with the original front header. 73.66, 48.05 foot-pounds. And I have the air fuel really sorted out. But up in here, it's huge. I mean, it's going to pull way harder than it did stock. I mean, way better. So, that's it for right now. I'll be getting some of the tuners made up. I should have them available shortly. If you have any questions, please just give me a call at the shop, 775-463-5394, Monday through Thursday, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.